Hello there folks, RJB here, and today we're gonna go into game number 2 between Byul and GangNamLife. In the last episode of RJB TV Esports Casts, Byul took home the victory over GangNamLife after playing a very long match of about 39 minutes. This one though, game number 2, is gonna be a long one as well. As you can see by the video title and the video length, it's going to be a long fight. But who is going to win? GangNamLife here on the yellow Terran, looking for revenge. Looking to set the wrongs from the previous game right. Byul here though on the teal Protoss on the other side of the map on the 9 o'clock spawn location is looking to put a foot. Well, that's not. I tried to say a Dutch proverb, but it doesn't really work in English. He's trying to foil GangNamLife's plans for revenge. Let's just spell it like that. Let's turn off the friend notifications and focus entirely and completely on the match between these two, I'd actually say, early game focused players. They're, in my opinion, they are very explosive and fast, multitask monsters with absolute great micro in the early game. But I do feel that when the game goes beyond 15 minutes, both players, they do somewhat slow down. It's like they sprint for the first 15 minutes with all their power. But when they have to run a marathon, they kind of use most of their power, most of their strength and endurance in those first 15 minutes of sprinting. I mean, it's a viable strategy though. If you can beat your opponent in the first 15 minutes because you're sprinting, you're going so fast, so hard, so strong, so hard to keep up with, then yeah, I can see it being worthwhile to try and beat your opponent in 15 minutes. And that's something both these players usually tend to try and do. So let's see what's going to happen. I mean, we already know it's going to be a long game, but I am kind of excited about the first 15 minutes. We already see some really cute, good control here on display from both players. Looks like Byul went for a build order that was invented by 458, which is Gateway, Nexus, Forge, double assimilator, cybercore, and then double cannon in the front. This one single zealot, well, soon to be 2 zealots, are or should be enough to keep GangNamLife's Marines away. But GangNamLife, as I said before in the introduction of this video, GangNamLife has really good Marine micro. He's actually one of the very best early game Terran players in all of Korea for fastest map. He finds ways to bust open the frontal choke with pure micro skill and timing that I have not seen a whole lot of other players do or replicate. Like there's Minchel who can do it, Brain, Byul himself who's in this game. I've seen him do it, Lucky Back as well. But I haven't really seen a whole lot of players outside of those 5 or 6. Well, there's Mong as well. I forgot Mong. Mong as well is amazing. Probably the best Terran and fastest ever. But outside of those players, I haven't really seen a lot of players consistently break a Protoss in the first 8 minutes. Haven't really seen a lot of players do it consistently, with pure micro and timing. GangNamLife though is stopping his Marine production for now. He is getting a command center, an academy as well. He's not going for a triple command center, he's going for a double command center and a fast factory. He's mining from double refinery, got 21 SCVs, academy's finished up, steam is on the way, so the medics will soon be in production as well. And the SCV here inside of Byul's base is still running in circles. He's getting all the information you could possibly want as a Terran on what the Protoss is up to. He's seeing the double robotics in the front, he's seeing no Shuttle of it in the back, although it is now morphing in on the bottom side actually. So that was my mistake. It's in a very unusual spot. Most players just don't build it there. They build it where they have their forges and the cybercores. So we have a support bay on the way because the robotics is finished in the front. We got Zealot Speed on the way. He's gonna now put on and add on a couple more gateways to up the Zealot production. Got the Marines there from GangNamLife pushing across the map, forcing those Zealots to retreat back to their choke, where there are 3 cannons and a 4th one is on the way. So I think that GangNamLife won't be able to break through. He might try to, but I don't think it's going to work. And I think GangNamLife is smart enough to not attempt it once he sees all those cannons there in the front. And of course a couple of zealots there to support. Got 2 Reavers on the way there for Byul. Triple gateway soon finished up. Nothing in the back there yet. And inside of GangNamLife space, we have double Starport on the way to fight against the shuttles. It's going to be a very shuttle-focused build order here. Very shuttle-focused strategy from Byul. And GangNamLife, going for the raids, is probably going to play a very aggressive Wraith Terran. It's only 1 factory, siege mode is on the way, tank is on the way. He's not really going to have a lot of tanks for the next 5 minutes, because he's probably going to go for a double factory for quite a while using his raids to snipe and kill those shuttles while they're traveling all over the map. So GangNamLife is going to use a lot of scans, and he just scanned the front, saw the Reavers spawn, because the Reavers usually do spawn at about 5:45, maybe 6:10, somewhere in between. So if you scan around that time on the location where the robotics should use... Oh! This is amazing. He's gonna try to snipe it. It escapes up onto the high ground. But now the Zealots are catching the Marines. He's gonna try to turn around and still snipe it. Nope, he's just gonna run for it. He's gonna keep on running. Run, Forest Marine, run! And he arrives on the scene. Reavers unloading, tank in the back. Reaver Scarabs are not really able to get through. So that attack there completely whiffs. The Reaver... Oh, he loses everything. That went about as bad as it possibly could. There was just... Like, what happens is the Scarab counts as a unit. And a unit has to be able to pass through and connect. The Zealots and Marines and the medics here in the front were blocking the Scarabs. So the Scarabs actually did nothing at all. And that's just a little bit of bad luck. Byul should have noticed that a little bit earlier. He was multitasking while attacking. So it didn't quite work out as he wanted it to. And it ends up with GangNamLife in a supply lead, taking the least possible damage a Terran can possibly take from that frontal attack. It doesn't get much better than this for GangNamLife. But now, he flies straight into the raids, which means that the Reaver and the Shuttle is pretty much dead and gone. I'm going to just try to kill as much as he can with the Reaver, because the Reaver dies pretty slowly to the raids. Crawling all the way up there, doesn't get to fire another Scarab there though. He did at least kill 1 SCV there on the engineering bay, slow down the engineering bay itself, another Shuttle there on the way over the bottom side. Still only on double robo, he's getting on more gateways. So where I expected a very heavy shuttle strategy, he's actually going for only double robo. So we won't be seeing a huge amount of shuttles, we'll be seeing them consistently, but not in great numbers. He's planning on instead going for a surprise gateway attack. Dark Templars in the base, Dark Templars all going down, not really much of a problem, does kill 2 turrets. Oh, it's still hiding there in the corner. It's still hiding in the corner. So GangNamLife is in for a small little surprise when the Dark Templar marches into the base and starts killing some Marines while he doesn't have a scan. Oh, he gets found out though. Dark Templar reveals itself. It's on the hunt looking for Marine lives. No scan energy at the moment, so the Marine could do some real damage here. I mean, the Dark Templar could do some real damage, and it is killing more than it should. It is killing more than it should. And still, yeah, only 1 factory. Mostly just getting a lot of SCVs, building turrets, moving Marines around, scanning Byul's base, moves the SCVs to the front, where there is also no turret. This bottom corner is staying alive by the virtue of 1 Dark Templar escaping detection. It got through. The one that got away. Now his shuttle's coming over the bottom side. Raids are not... Oh, raids are coming in to snipe the shuttle. It unloads. Templar's on the low ground. Templar doesn't have energy to storm, though. The Dark Templar, they're still killing Marines. Gets a scan on the Dark Templar. Finally, the Dark Templar goes down. And now both players are once again on similar supply counts. So actually, what I thought were gateways for Byul turned out to be Stargates. He's going to use Corsairs to kill the raids, and then allow the shuttles to get through all the way into the backside of GangNamLife space. Is it going to work? I don't know, but I do think it will, because most of the time that surprise Corsair attack on the raids works, unless he has Cloak. He does have a control tower, which leads me to believe he's got Cloak finished up, so those raids are probably going to cloak up as soon as they see the Corsairs, which means that Byul probably needs some detection. And he has an observatory on the way, so we might see detection coming in as well. And it looks like he is actually going for a very strong, heavy shuttle play. As he now has 5 robos, 2 still warping in, getting more gateways as well. He's building very, very quick, spending his minerals very, very well. He does have some small minor weaknesses, but he's now going to pluck up those weaknesses as well. Like if GangNamLife decided to go for a tank drop, he could get a tank drop hit from his bottom corner, and maybe from the top corner, because triple cannon is not enough to kill the tanks fast enough. That's why he's adding more cannons to make sure that a tank drop is not going to catch him by surprise and kill his probes. As we've seen many times on the channel, that one single tank drop killing probes can completely ruin a Protoss' chances of winning a game against these elite level Terrans. So triple armory number 4 on the way, science facility on the way as well. Got a dropship there on the side to put tanks on the high ground, or maybe go for a tank drop. GangNamLife has got most of his units all the way in the back, almost nothing in the front, which is something Byul could try to exploit. Could try to exploit that, although most of his own supplies in Corsairs and Shuttles and units inside the Shuttles. So at the moment doesn't have the army composition to exploit this very weak choke. He does have bunkers filled with Marines, but there's only 1 tank in the front. Most of his tanks are sieged up in the back because he is expecting a mass army shuttle drop on his minerals. That's what he's expecting, and that's what he's preparing for. The race though might be on the hunt. They're leaving, they're cloaking up. Moving across the map, there's some cannons being built on the middle there, though, which might spot out 1. Oh, he spots... Oh, he didn't spot them out. He has observers, though. Corsairs on the hunt. Raids are pretty much useless against the Corsairs. He will have to snipe those observers with a scan. Shuttle drop coming in. Marines are on the bottom side, all stimming up. Looks like Byul saw it with a little bit of vision. Gonna move there for the front. Gonna try to fly around. Marines are coming in. Raids are coming in as well. Corsairs took down the Raids within a blink of an eye. Now the Shuttles are arriving on the backside there. He's flying right into the Reaver, but the Reaver's Scarab is not connecting. Storms on everything he can, but most of the SCVs have run away to safety. Storms on Marines, storms on the tanks, storms on more Marines, storms on everything he can, but doesn't really... Oh, he killed a lot of units. Oh, the supply went down from 180 all the way down to 120. So that was a really hard hitting storm on everything except on the SCVs. But his army size, he just lost like 60 supply of units. Raids, he had about 12, has 24 supply. He had like 30 Marines, all dead and gone, except of course these 9 or so here. He had about 12 tanks, almost all dead and gone. So yeah, Byul, despite not hitting the minerals, actually achieved some pretty great results. It did cost him his entire army as well, but considering he has a lot of gateways, I think about 8 and 5, well, not a lot, it's 13 gateways, it's not a huge number, it's just big enough to reap max fast enough. He's got a drop there prepared. Course is in the air, Shuttle's all full and loaded up, ready to drop and hit hard. All the minerals. Attempt number 2 coming in. GangNamLife has a couple of Valkyries, a couple of Marines, but he should not be able to take all of this down unless he has some magical target firing abilities that I've never seen before. But oh, that's 1 shuttle goes down. Everything else is unloading. SCVs, oh, SCVs are getting stormed. They're walking right into the storm. But he split up his SCVs really nicely. Still has 64 SCVs all alive. Splitting them up really was the right choice here. Gonna have to unsiege though. Please unsiege. That 1 zealot there in the mix is... oh, goes down to Marines. So no fatal hit from splash damage. Shuttle's in the corner, still alive. Of course, is fighting back against the Valkyries. There might still be a Templar in there. Maybe there's not. It appears there's not. So once again, GangNamLife prevents disaster with a split SCV worker storm dodge. One group goes down, but the other groups stay alive because he sent them in another direction. Still a beautiful drop there from Byul though. Still a beautiful drop. He's slowing GangNamLife down sufficiently. Still only on triple factory. Is not very rich. Does have a lot of gas there. Catches the shuttles with scan tracking. The Reavers are unloaded on the bottom side. Gonna try to kill those turrets. Got a tank there rolling in. Marines as well. Trying to defend. But it doesn't look like he'll achieve all that much with that drop. GangNamLife's scanning is insanely good. He has 4 scans in total. He's scanning all over the place to try and track and find out where the shuttles are and what GangNamLife is doing. You can basically call it a map hack. If your ability to scan is this consistent, this good, you always know what the Protoss is up to, and you will almost never be caught by surprise. But it does take some APM, it does take some actions out of your building and fighting to be scanning and looking at the opponent's base. But GangNamLife is very good at it. Caches the shuttles before they can really do any real dangerous damage. It's going to kill the turrets here though, it's at least something, but it's not that much. It's just going to be a little minor inconvenience for GangNamLife to have to rebuild those turrets on the top corner, but it doesn't really hurt them that much. This is acceptable. 178 supply now, 77 SCVs. Starts building all the remaining factories. He's ready to go and head to victory. Got cannons there on the side being built to contain, so that Byul can maintain the lead over his opponent, GangNamLife. Byul is preparing carriers. He's got a lot of them on the way. Got about 5 or so finished up, and another 7 on the way. 2 arbiters as well, getting every single upgrade known to mankind at the same time. He's getting stasis. He's getting air armor and air weapon. Getting shield, getting armor for ground, getting weapon for ground. Every single upgrade you want as a Protoss for a late game situation, he is getting all of it at the same time. So GangNamLife opening up some supply space, adding more factories. He's ready to defend against the carrier army. We will probably see a lot of shield batteries here being built on this side as well. So yeah, GangNamLife is a little bit slower with finishing up his base. He's got a lot of SCVs all over the place, building turrets. He just wants to have a completely finished and built base before he moves out for the attack. This is giving Byul some really nice time, though, to secure the entire map in his favor. Shield batteries are coming in. A couple of zealots there clearing out the front. The bunkers have been emptied out earlier. He's now actually supply blocked, so might need a couple more supply depots. He's building one there on the top corner. Got a lot of SCVs there on the side to build new turrets to help assist in fighting against the interceptors. Got Valkyries are on the side attacking the interceptors. Interceptors are pulling Valkyrie attacks into the carriers, but the carriers only lose their shields, so he's just going to fly to the shield batteries and recover those shields. No big deal, no biggie, no problem. Easy, a minor inconvenience. As the one guy from Screen Rant, or Pitch Meeting, he's now got his own channel. His first name is Ryan. He does the Pitch Meeting parody videos, and he's got this famous line whenever the director the producer is asking him about the script, ask him if that's going to be hard. He says, well, it's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience. It's one of my favorite lines from YouTube. It's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience, just like this one. Oh, he misses the stasis. Oh, that was a great dodge from GangNamLife. Byul was not expecting the dodge, so now he's got, I'd say, about 16 Valkyries ready to defend against the air attack. Arbiter in the back. Doesn't have energy to stasis yet again. Is hanging there in the front. Carriers are retreating. Carriers took so much damage just from those Valkyrie rockets hitting the interceptors, returning back to the carrier. That's brutal. Brutal stuff. I cannot see the air upgrades though, but I just can't see them. Got 3 armor, 2 shield, so I assume he's maxed out on upgrades. GangNamLife already on 2-2 himself as well, or ground. The air is on 2-2. He's basically just 2-2 on everything. Got 4 factories running, so it should be on maxed out upgrades very soon. Carriers are going to clear out the tanks in the middle that are trying to break open the middle. Byul is like, nope, not going to let it happen. But GangNamLife in return says, ha! Uno reverse card, you're not going to kill my tanks, because I've got the Valkyrie power in the air, fighting against your carriers. But there's a stasis coming in there on the Arbiter. Arbiter, oh, beautiful control there from GangNamLife, pulling and splitting up the Valkyries to prevent Arbiter contain in the stasis. So both players playing really well. Restoring those shields on the carriers. Something you gotta do. He's got 11 of them. He's got a couple more Corsairs on the way to fight against the Valkyries. He's very rich with those 80 probes. He's gonna kill a couple of them very soon, I'm sure of it. GangNamLife keeps on building and building structures to float them into the air and get additional vision on the sides. It's going to help him fight against the carriers, because the carriers on the high ground are actually invisible from the low ground if you do not have vision on the high ground. Let's just see if I can highlight that. Yeah, as you can see right here. Oh, there's a Dark Templar in the front. Dark Templar gets taken down, but now the tanks have free fire on the carriers have free fire on the tanks. Horses coming in from the side. Goliaths are trying to chase down the carriers. Cannons in the middle are still up there. Goliaths are going to overchase all the way. So as you can see right here, you don't have vision on the high ground. So you need a building floating in the air, or an air unit here on location to see what's on the high ground. It makes carriers pretty strong on this map. I'd say a little bit stronger compared to the western map. Just say a little bit stronger. He's just going to keep on building command centers and floating them into the air, get more control over the map. GangNamLife is playing this one really well. I'd say a little bit slower than usual, but he's got his base completely filled out. He's feeling completely safe, and he's defending against the carriers with ease. It's not even phasing or hurting him, it is barely inconvenience, but it is slowing him down though. Arbiter, Valkyrie's coming in, gets a lot of them in stasis. GangNamLife with a small little momentary lapse in judgment and awareness gets caught off guard with a great another Arbiter on the way. And he catches the other half of the Valkyrie. So only 2 Valkyries still in the air. Goliaths on the low ground though are hunting down the carriers, going for the body shots, ignoring the interceptors themselves, but he's got quite a number of Goliaths actually, and the carriers are somewhat struggling, only 8 of them are left alive, and as soon as those Valkyries come out of stasis, they're just gonna hunt down the carriers and gonna allow GangNamLife to push through, but 2 Dark Templars and a Templar are coming. The High Templar gets taken down immediately. Okay, he notices the Dark Templars on the low ground. They're gonna get taken down as well. Right? Yeah, they both get... No, one of them is still alive. And there are another stage this comes down. The carriers are still alive, but they're in the red HP region. Got a gateway base being built there on the bottom side. Byul is playing this one really well, keeping GangNamLife at bay. GangNamLife is playing exceptionally well himself. A formidable Terran player. But those couple Dark Templars are really just party pooping every single time. He's losing more than he would want to. And the carriers coming in from the side once again, because the Valkyries were expecting the carriers to go for a top corner attack. But it's not a top corner attack, it is instead just a small, simple middle fight. That GangNamLife is winning. He's definitely dominating this fight here. Goliaths are going for the body shots, Valkyries in the air are going for the interceptors, but now that the interceptors have been reduced in number, we've got the Valkyries chasing down the carriers, but Dark Templars are there on the middle, gonna have to use the scans, and Dark Templars are gonna get taken down by tank shots. But those couple Dark Templars in the mix every single time are being really, really annoying. So Byul made a couple new carriers. He's got a total of 9 at the moment, 1 more on the way. Triple Arbiter there are being produced as well, and 4 Dark Templars, 4 Dragoons. He might go for another shuttle drop, because I do see 1 shuttle there in production. So he might try to hit the minerals of GangNamLife, because that is something he will have to do if he wants to win this fight with an army against army fight. Because in my opinion, a Terran army like this is stronger than a Protoss army. It simply is. Look at this. He's winning and dominating the middle. The carriers are not much of a problem. GangNamLife is dominating, but the 4 Dark Templars are in the front once again. Do party poop a little bit and are killing the tanks. Scans again. The Dragoons are coming in to save the day as well. That was only 3 Dragoons and a Zealot. Carriers are returning onto the scene, but only 6 of them are left alive. 3 of them went down. The carrier strategy here not doing great. It is those couple gateway units that keep pushing GangNamLife back to his own base. And we see a lot more gateway units in production for Byul. Also throwing away about 12 probes to open up supply space, because he's pretty rich. 20,000 minerals. That's a lot of minerals. He's mostly using these gateways on the bottom side to supplement and recover his supply. Time to recover those shields on the carriers as well. GangNamLife is not relenting. She's going to keep on pushing, going to keep on attacking, going to keep the pressure up on Byul. This is going to force Byul to basically switch over into a gateway army. It's got High Templars, got Dark Templars in the mix, Storms on the tanks, and the vessels as well. The Templars are getting kited around. the carriers that are in the back are being a huge inconvenience. A big inconvenience, actually, as the entire army that GangNamLife had on the middle did get taken down, but more units are being rebuilt. It's going for raids instead of Valkyries this time around. There's no observer here in the middle for Byul, so the raids should be able to easily kill those carriers. As soon as they arrive, scans for an observer, sees no observer, so it's free firing onto the carrier bodies from the raids. But now a big gateway army switch up is hunting and breaking. Ooh, great stasis on an arbiter, but mostly on the raids. So it's a switch up, try to catch GangNamLife slipping by switching over into a gateway army and hoping that GangNamLife had a lot of Valkyries, but GangNamLife has 4 scans. He's just scanning non-stop all over the place, seeing the entire map. Nothing is going to catch him off guard. Once again, gateway army moving out. And then gateway's on the middle as well. He's just completely switching over. Well, not completely. Now that he has pushed GangNamLife back to his own base, Byul feels comfortable enough to start building carriers again, because carriers take a long time to build. So he's only going to do it when GangNamLife no longer has control over the middle. Whenever GangNamLife has control over the middle, it becomes too dangerous for Byul to go for carriers, because the tanks can push through all the way to the Nexus. The situation is it just takes too damn long. A couple of tanks on the high ground, very much like what Byul did in the previous game, setting up tanks on the high ground here close to the middle to make it difficult for Byul to progress into GangNamLife's choke. GangNamLife is getting pretty rich. He's on 77 SCVs, might have to kill a couple of those SCVs to get a slightly bigger and stronger army. About 4 vessels in the mix for defensive matrices and EMPs. So yeah, Byul once again returning to the carrier army. He's got 7 of them finished up, and 3 more on the way, so it's going to be about 10 carriers in total. Tanks at the high ground are killing this top base. Well, the cannons of it at least. So now that most of the gateway army for Byul has gone down, there is a small little time frame for GangNamLife to push across the map and start the attack before all the carriers are finished up. The storm carpeting on the tanks splits up the tanks. Still loses a couple tanks, but that split into 3 directions of the tanks, that's great control. GangNamLife really is no joke. He's amazing. He's one of my personal favorite players. But now, got carriers in the air and almost no anti-air. The tanks are just going to march and roll forward, going to try to kill as much as they can before they die. GangNamLife also killed about 27 27 SCVs, 28 SCVs. He killed 28 SCVs with a tank shot. That was 49 SCVs. So his army is going to be a little bit bigger than previously. The tanks have killed the choke, but are forced to retreat. Finds a proxy gateway base on the middle. The carriers have done their job. I said it was about 11 or 10 carriers earlier. It's 11 again. Full HP, full shields. The proxy shield battery on the top is still alive. Also Dark Templars again in the mix. Got Corsairs again in the mix, ready to hunt down the Wraiths or the Valkyries. But we've got mostly Goliaths here on the middle. Dark Templar goes in, Valkyries hanging in the back, scans, tanks shoot down the Dark Templar. Gotta return to the shield batteries to keep those shields big and healthy. But now the Corsairs are coming in to hunt down the Valkyries, so the Goliath's gonna have to do most of the work, but there's one single Dark Templar there in the mix, killing the Goliaths. Carriers are going down now though, we already lost 2 of them. It's gonna focus on killing the tanks on the high ground. Valkyries are fighting against the Corsairs, Goliaths are fighting against the carriers. Carriers keep retreating back to the shield batteries and the cannons. This is an exciting game of middle fighting. This is great Terran against Protoss. The only thing that Byul would still have to keep on doing is mixing in some shuttle drops while all this is happening. But it's just so difficult when a Terran is playing this fast this controlled, this smart, this effectively, it's very difficult to fight and drop at the same time, because making a mistake at any point will end you the game. It will lose you the game. A lot of Dark Templars in the mix here. That's a lot of Dark Templars. Does he have a vessel? No vessels there in the mix. Scans on the Dark Templars, but the Dark Templars getting on top of the tanks and the Goliath, so they do push through. Storming there as well. Now the carriers in the back are fighting against the Valkyries and the tanks that were left behind, a little bit further behind. But it does look like the carriers are losing the fight, but they have recovery, they have healing. Give me a medic, give me the shields back. Valkyries on the chase. Carriers keep restoring their shields continuously, but they are going to go down because at some point the shield batteries run out of energy. Although that is taking a pretty damn long fucking time. So they do win the fight. And GangNamLife once again gets pushed back. Not into his base, but it gets pushed back significantly. More Valkyries in production, his gas is a little bit low and slow. His minerals are still pretty healthy and pretty rich. Carriers coming in to try and find and kill the tanks, but he flies right into a Goliath army. So he's gonna lose one carrier for sure. Maybe not. Ooh, barely stays alive. Barely stays alive. A huge Dark Templar Dragoon Zelda army here at the bottom. Added on another proxy gateway base. This is exciting fighting. These are the kinds of games I absolutely love. I love watching massive armies fighting, microing, going, switch up, mix-ups. Ooh, this attack with the Dark Templars is brutal. Vessels in the air getting sniped by the carriers. Now the Valkyries are going for the carriers. Carriers are too far away from shield batteries there, though, so they are going to die, most likely getting chased down. GangNamLife has so many scans, so he keeps on scanning, but the Dark Templars mixed in with the Zealots and Dragoons are just absolutely destroying. Dragoons are trying to help out and save the carriers, but the carriers are going to barely survive. But now GangNamLife is pushing back is getting pushed back to his own base. The tanks on the high ground are saving the day because they're going to kill everything that tries to get close. GangNamLife's supplies are down to 129 earlier, so he did lose almost his entire army. Pretty damn quick. But he's also being rebuilt pretty damn quick. It does cost him a lot of gas though. A couple of remaining carriers kill the tanks on the high ground. And we're back in the situation we were previously in. Both players fighting for control over the middle, but neither player definitively getting control over the middle. Byul is trying to set up cannons though on the middle. He's building a pylon there. There's going to be cannons. Got a huge army of Zealot and Dragoons there. He doesn't really have a lot of carriers anymore. He's got 4 more on the way. But he's replacing most of the dead carriers with a gateway army. Once again, tanks are pulling back. Valkyries fighting against the carriers. Carriers going to go down for sure. Storms on the Valkyries though. Another storm on the Valkyries would save the carriers, but it doesn't look like it will come down. Wow. He saves the 2 carriers. He saves the 2 carriers. But now we've got a huge tank army here in the back, in the choke, defending against the probably just slightly too small gateway army. The Templars did a lot of work with the storms, but maybe not enough. Well, definitely not enough. Now the carriers are eventually gonna go down. They fought for a long time, but here they go. The last one is down. Mayday, mayday, mayday. So 4 more carriers on the map, 1 more on the way. He's getting a Dark Archon. I think it's a Dark Archon. It's a regular Archon. Byul does not like mind control, so he's not going to use it. It appears to be that he doesn't like mind control enough to use it. So once again, a big Zealot Dragoon High Templar army. This time around, no Dark Templars in the mix. The Dark Templars have been doing a lot of hard work. There's still 1 there in the front, but hasn't built a single new Dark Templar yet. Some annoying tanks being put back onto the high ground. And GangNamLife moving forward with the Valkyries to move, to scare the carriers away, to keep those tanks on the high ground alive. More tanks on the northern high ground as well. 2 locations and sections of control that GangNamLife feels he has to keep under his belt. Oh, unloading tanks here as well. Instead of just moving through the middle, might as well dropship some tanks here on this section to clear out the shield batteries. I like that idea. Because going through the middle has been proven to be rather difficult, with Byul every single time managing to push GangNamLife back to his own base. The carriers there taking care of the carriers, Valkyries flying over to take care of those carriers, taking care of the tanks. Gonna try to kill the tanks there though, might be a small little mistake. The carriers are gonna get taken down. Goliaths arriving on the scene as well. Both the tanks there do stay alive. Carriers returning to the shield batteries are gonna get restored. But it looks like GangNamLife is winning this fight here. So he's repositioning his units on the middle, bolting cannons to try and buy time to slow GangNamLife down. GangNamLife rebuilt a couple of SCVs to get a couple more on the gas, I assume, because his gas now is really high, and earlier his gas was really low. So I assume he put a couple more SCVs on the gas. His minerals have been staying the same for a long time now. It really does look like the shield battery proxy base here is getting taken down, so we most likely will no longer see a lot of carriers. I assume it's mostly going to be a gateway army from Byul. He's on 31,000 minerals. So Byul is even in a position where he can afford to kill his own probes and just go for a completely maxed out 200 supply gateway army. Mixed in with some drops, because this is a drop coming in from the northern side. It's been 20 minutes since the last drop. Byul is scanning the entire map, but I don't think he scanned on the shuttle, so he doesn't know it's coming. There are a lot of turrets there though, so he comes right in. Corsairs protecting the shuttles. SCV's not running away. SCVs are running away. Feels he has to keep them alive, but now we've got a reverse Zealots in the back, getting taken down by tanks, but the command center is taking heavy amounts of damage. It gets taken down really quickly, largely with the assistance of the tanks though. The tanks did a lot of work in taking down his own command center. Valkyrie there scanning and scouting the entire map. Finds proxy gateway bases all over the place. Tanks in the middle ready to push forward. We've got a massive gateway attack coming from the front, trying to get on top of those tanks. The storms are really good. The storms are doing a lot of work in reducing the amount of tanks and even Valkyries that GangNamLife has, but GangNamLife is still pretty rich. No longer has his main command center though, on 39 SCVs. His army is really massive, but perhaps a little bit too much supply stuck in Valkyries. But his tank army is big, but Byul is moving out with a massive attack once again onto those tanks, making sure he catches those tanks before the reinforcements from the base arrive. So he's doing a really good job of keeping GangNamLife on his toes, but GangNamLife does win the fight after all and pushes Dragoons and Zealots back to Byul's half of the map. Byul though has so many gateways. I hear on the bottom side count 8, then another 6 and 6, so that's all already 20 gateways. He's got another 7 here. There's a lot of gateways all over the place, all over the map for Byul. Dark Templar Zealot doing a great job pushing the tanks back, getting right in between. The vessel in the back there, though, is protecting against the Dark Templars to some degree. The Stormers mixed in are also doing an amazing job, but GangNamLife is still pushing forward. But he already burned through 5,000 minerals he had in the bank earlier. So his income really has slowed down to a minimum. And he's just completely relying and gambling once again on having a bigger army than Byul that Byul cannot fight with, or not beat, not defeat. He's gambling on the army being big enough to win. Is it gonna work? I sure hope so for GangNamLife. We've got Arbiters on the way there from somewhere right here. Once again, a big Zealot attack. I mean, when you have like 40 gateways, I assume it's going to be about 40 gateways on the map, you can rebuild your Zealot Dragoon army really, really fast. Because you got 40 gateways. He can just build his army faster than GangNamLife can. And GangNamLife's minerals and gas are already down to 2,000 and 1,000. It's working. Byul's plan is working. That one drop that hit GangNamLife and killed his main command center, although GangNamLife kind of killed himself with the tank shots. It's working. He's running out of money really fast. Not sure if GangNamLife's plan is gonna work like this. Byul is just so rich, producing so fast, attacking non-stop. His APM is in the 300s, which I almost never see from Byul this late into the game. Storm's coming down on the tank lines. It's a triple storm. That really hurts. Those tanks are now pretty damn weak. But the tanks here on the high ground, though, are going to take control over this entire bottom section. Going to kill everything they can. Another Zealot Dragoon attack there on the way. GangNamLife is still maxed out on supply, putting some mines in the front. The Zealots and Dragoons now coming in are no longer that much of a problem. But it's sieged, that the tanks sieged up all over the place, covering the entire middle. These tanks are on the bottom fighting against Dragoons. Dragoons kind of missing their shots most of the time. GangNamLife is making progress. Although now his tanks in the front might be a little bit too split up from the tanks in the back. Oh, catches the Arbiters before they can even do anything. Are any of the Arbiters... Okay, 3 Arbiters do survive. Shuttle's getting taken down in the front. Arbiters don't have energy for stasis yet. Gonna hunt them down once again. The Arbiters are completely useless. They're getting taken down before they can even use a single stasis. This is really good stuff from... Byul. Really good stuff from Byul. But, is it enough? This is enough. GangNamLife, 600 minerals. Haven't seen him this broke since the start of the game. But he has control, and I think that's what matters the most. Got control over the 6 o'clock spawn, 6 o'clock location. He's getting control over the 9 o'clock location. Byul has 22,000 minerals though, so he can build a lot of Zealots and Dragoons if he wants to. Tanks are marching forward. GangNamLife down to 160, 180 supply. His income is too low to sustain a maxed out army. But his army apparently is big enough to stay in control over the match. Got some courses in the mix there as well. We got carriers on the way. Oh. GangNamLife is in for a big carrier surprise. A lot of Dark Templars on the way as well. There's no detection at the moment. He scans though, and the Dark Templars are getting taken down before they are even effective. Let's hope he can continue doing that. The Templars are spawning. Tanks are moving forward. Dropship on the high ground. Carriers in the back are finishing up, but still have to build their interceptors. It is now a race against the clock for both players. Is GangNamLife going to be fast enough to kill the probe in the back and kill the Nexuses before the carriers are able to kill the tanks? Dark Templars come in, get scanned. Byul reveals his last trump card, the carriers in the back. We don't have a lot of anti-air here though. Are the carriers going to break the game? Are the carriers going to be the decider? Byul no longer has maxed out supplies, losing pylons pretty fast. Looks like he's focusing on the Nexus, on the probes. He already killed a couple of them with only 57 probes left alive. Siege is up pretty close within range. He's going to try to take down the Nexus first. More tanks are rolling in from across the map. Going to try to finish this one from roll. We've got a mass Dark Templar army going for the counterattack. And he's... Ooh, this is becoming very scary. This is becoming... Oh, Dark Templars are ignoring everything in the front. Going to go straight for the main base. There's nothing in the main base here though. There's turrets to detect, but he's going to go kill the turrets instead of focusing on the factors and the units. We got Goliaths returning back home. He killed the Nexus, killed a couple of pros, but the tank army here on the middle has gone down. So Byul, GangNamLife tried to brute force it, but now he's got no army. And we've got carriers on the map. A massive Dark Templar army from Byul going for the counter. This is looking really scary for Byul, for GangNamLife. Once again, doesn't have enough workers to rebuild his army fast enough, and the Dark Templars have done a lot of work. In this current situation, Byul has a massive advantage over GangNamLife. He got 20,000 minerals. He doesn't need any of his probes anymore at the moment. He can produce a huge, absolutely stupidly huge army. And GangNamLife can't. He just can't. He doesn't have the money for it. He's on 129 supply. He cannot rebuild his army. He can't do much of anything. He's preparing an army against the carriers. We have Corsair carrier they are ready to defend. This is looking ugly. GangNamLife got so close to victory, and it looks like he's still going to lose. I just don't see his game working out well for him, because Byul is already rebuilding his base. He's rich as hell. He's the richest motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. He's gonna rebuild his entire base with ease, really quickly. GangNamLife, though, removed all of his SCVs from the minerals, putting them all on the other way around. Removed most of his SCVs from the gas to get a couple more minerals in the bank. But he simply doesn't have enough SCVs in total. GangNamLife gambled it all on that one attack. Disruption web, they're on the tanks. This is gonna be the screenshot. I mean, the game is pretty much over at this point, so just make a beautiful screenshot here. This looks absolutely amazing. Wow, every single little particle that you can possibly get from Protoss against Terran is here on the map. And I think this is it. I think this is it. There's just too many carriers, Dragoons, Arbors, Corsairs, Templars, whatever you have, whatever you can see, whatever you can imagine. Byul has it, and he wins on the counter after GangNamLife simply runs out of money. So that was it for today. It was RJB from RJB TV doing game number 2 between GangNamLife and Byul. Byul wins again. Won a Terran against Protoss, and wins the Protoss against Terran. Won both games just barely. These two players definitively, definitely evenly matched. So soon game number 3 is going to come up on the channel. Should be tomorrow when I'm going to cast it. So please sit tight and wait, because tomorrow we together are going to enjoy game number 3.